y'all, it is Paula, Hillbilly Orchids. Welcome back to my channel. I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. It is rainy here today. This is actually Saturday, so I think I'll probably post this video tomorrow. Actually, I needed something for tomorrow, I do want to apologize that this has been so long in the making. So I was asked a while ago by Richard Lawton to do a video about Cattleyas and their sensitivity to light. And I told him I was like, I definitely could do that, but I've had so many other things pop up, and plus I needed to find a certain paragraph in this book to refer to about some of the light issues with Cattleyas. And also Stephen Van Kampen-Lewis, he did, not recently, it's been a while, he did a video on I believe it was his Walkerianas that a street light was keeping the greenhouse too lit up at night, and he had to actually put a board up to block the light from the street light coming in to keep his Cattleyas from blooming. So some of your Cattleyas are sensitive to light like that, especially at night. If they need night light, they need night light. I mean, like, it needs to be dark, it needs to be pitch black. Other plants, it doesn't faze them much at all. So, but, you know, with that said too, a lot of people, the number one thing in the daytime, if your Cattleyas aren't blooming, it generally falls back to light. So if they're not getting enough sunlight, enough brightness to make them bloom. So, but Walkerianas are like one of the main known types of Cattleyas that do require pitch blackness at night. And the thing about that is that as much as we get into these complex hybrids anymore, that tends to be a problem then, because you don't know if that plant, you know, unless you look them up and see what's in their background, you know, you don't tend to know why this plant isn't blooming, and you think, well, okay, I'm going to boost its light in the daytime, but it might not be that at all. It could be the nighttime that it's getting too much light at dark. So much as a street light can affect a Walkeriana from blooming. Light under a cracked door, you know, or like if your door has a big crack on the bottom of it, say it doesn't reach the bottom real close, things like that. Some of the lights that some of your equipment have, like indicator lights, if they stay on at night, that can affect your Walkerianas from blooming. And I do recall, I've asked Stephen, I tried to look through his videos and tried to pick out the video that he was talking about that. I couldn't find it, so I messaged him to ask him if he remembers which one it was. And if I can find that one, I will post it, or I will put a link in the description of this video, so you can go watch his as well, where he talks about that his Cattleya Walkeriana was getting too much light at night, so that you can kind of see that. But the thing of it is that it is like light. They need to have their you know, so much daylight and so much nighttime, you know, brightness and darkness. They need to have that, you know, strict range of light and dark in order to prompt them to blooming. And that's why I wanted to find, there's an insert in here, and actually Rick L from Rick L Orchids talked about it, and he told me it was in this book, and I had to take the time to actually find it, because I wanted to read it to you guys. It's really interesting, and it talks about when you know, back in the day when they would bloom Cattleya for, what are they called now? I can't think of what they're called. When they would cut flowers for corsages and such. So they needed Cattleyas to bloom when they needed them to bloom. So they would artificially make them bloom. And I thought it was very interesting, so I wanted to read it to y'all. I wanted to show you. This is a really great book that Rick gave me, American Cattleyas. It's got a lot of interesting reading in it, but it did take me a little bit of time to find the actual, let's see if I can pull it up here so that you guys can see it decently, so you can read it along with me, hopefully. We're going to start right here with the mass production. The mass production of cut flowers that peaked in the 1950s and 60s is hard to imagine today. Each greenhouse contained bench after bench of Cattleyas in 10-inch or larger pots of various colors, species in the early years, and the hybrids when they became available. Individual clones that produced more flowers at the right time of the year were selected. Before cloning, hundreds of divisions of that clone chosen for some of the special characteristics would accumulate through normal vegetative reproduction. Flowers in the trade were Cattleyas whose flowering time could be artificially manipulated. Merritt Huntington tells of 4 6 by 300 benches of a cloned labeled as a number 12 white that were light controlled. Lights with 100-watt light bulbs dangled from an electric cord spaced over each bench and left on all night. Light levels as low as 10-foot candles are enough to prevent flowering in light-sensitive Cattleyas. That depending on the shortening of days to stimulate flowering. Part of a few benches did not have lights, and these flowered from February to March. Every couple of weeks, a few bulbs would be unscrewed, which would initiate flowering in the plants below. In this way, the flowering season for the number 12 white could be extended into summer. Cut flower nurseries had many ways to manipulate flowering season and hybridizing for plants that could be light controlled, notably Cattleya mossiae and Cattleya labiata hybrids. Characteristics of the flowers that would be important for exhibition took a back seat to the needs for plants that produce large numbers of flowers flowered at a specific times of year, and for flowers that lasted well. So I thought that was really interesting that as low as 10-foot candle can affect a plant, a Cattleya, from blooming. So I wanted to read that to you guys because that is very interesting. And it does kind of give you a little insight into, like if you left the lights on your plants, I mean, you can, you can push them as well to bloom like that. But overall, generally, the way we grow our plants today, we don't need them to continually flower like that. It is hard on a plant. So, we're just blooming them to have our blooms when they come along in that year. There's also a nice chart in here, if I can find it now. I had forgotten about it. I should have marked it because I just wanted to share it with you guys. It is a chart that tells like when the species, what time of year the species actually do bloom, which I thought was really, really interesting. I have to find it. I don't want to lose that that insert there of where I found that at. I might stop the thing so I can find it for you guys and then come back and show you. because it is really cool. This is a really nice book. Yeah, hang tight. Let me see if I can find that chart, because I do want to share it with you, and I don't want you to have to sit here and watch me flop through pages. Hey y'all, my channel is sponsored by the Orchid Supply Store. It is literally your one-stop shop for anything and everything you could possibly need orchid related. They have pots, they have media, they even sell orchids. Use my name, code Hillbilly, in the code section for a 12% viewers discount. They also do free shipping in the US. So go check them out, y'all. Okay, we are back. Now, this is a diagram that was a general blooming season of Cattleya species import in the cut flower industry, adapted from a graphic presentation presented by Arthur Chadwick Sr. to the Eastern Orchid Congress in October of 2000. So this is a really cool wheel that shows like your Perseviliana. They bloom between like late November to January. Your Triani blooms from like middle December to middle of February. So that's kind of cool. Ludemanianas bloom beginning of February to like the beginning of April. Mossier bloom from late February to the beginning of June. Gaskeliana bloom from March to July. That was the other J. To July. Worshwesia, however you say it, is about beginning of June to the end of August or middle August. Dowianas bloom from like the beginning of July to September, and Labiatas bloom from beginning of September's into about middle of November's. And Labiata, did I just say that one? I did. What is wrong with me? I was going around the wheel. So anyways, that is a real interesting wheel right there that shows you, you know, and see, that's why, you know, sometimes if you get, you know, something that is bred, you know, Mossier to Labiata, you know, it's complete opposites of the wheel. So, you know, you don't never know when that's going to bloom. It could bloom, you know, it could take after the Mossier and bloom over here. And then it could take after Labiata and bloom over here. So once you start mixing them, you never know what's going to happen. But this is when your pure Cattleyas, your pure species, this is when they will bloom. So I thought that was another real interesting note to make in this conversation. Like I said, we were talking about light, but this is a pretty cool wheel for like your species plants and when they're going to bloom. So I wanted to share that with you guys. So basically, that's it. Like I said, we were talking about, you know, how, you know, light and something as low as 10-foot candles can affect whether or not your plants are going to bloom. So I usually, for me, myself, personally, I just keep it so dark in here. I do have street lights. I don't have curtains that I pull, but I do have shears in the window so that, you know, not that much light actually comes in. It usually gets pretty dark in here, and I really try to just keep it as dark as I can. And so far, I've not really had much of a problem, you know, issue with any of mine not blooming because of the darkness, you know, as far as I know. So, but that's kind of, you know, the talk about it. I wanted to cover it a little bit, and like I said, you can, hopefully I can find the the link to Steven's video, and you can go watch and see what he tells you about it a little bit. I did find it also an interesting subject. So, but if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. And with that said, I appreciate each and every one of you beautiful, wonderful people stopping by and hanging out with me. And bye for now, y'all, till we meet again.